Hello and welcome to Modeling Mondays. Glad you came to visit again. I hope you enjoy this episode. Today I will be looking at a figure build I started a few months ago that seems to have stalled. I wanted to go over why I am building this, what I am building, and what I hope to do to finish this project up. I also hope to help you get a project done if you're stuck as well. So I have this friend, let's call him Steve. Steve and I, and several of our model group members, are in a building contest to see who can build the most models in a year. This particular contest started on January 1st of 2020. Well, Steve built a really nice 1/48 scale Su-17 from Kitty Hawk. Being the jealous model friend that I am, I threatened to build an anti-aircraft system to shoot it down. Steve is also a U.S. Army veteran, like myself, with him having served in a SHORAD, a short-range air defense unit, that just happened to use the man-portable Stinger missile system. This sounded like a great plan for building an anti-aircraft system to shoot down his Soviet ground attack aircraft. A brief background on the Stinger. Designated the FIM-92 Stinger missile system, it is based on the earlier FIM-43 Red-Eye missile system. As the Red-Eye was being produced, a program was started in 1967 to create a greatly improved version called the Red-Eye 2. In 1971, the U.S. Army selected the Red-Eye 2 for further development, and in 1972 it was renamed the Stinger. The Stinger entered service with the U.S. Army in 1981 and has gone through several upgrades over the years. It is a passive surface-to-air missile that utilizes a dual detector seeker in the infrared and ultraviolet ranges, helping it to avoid countermeasures more easily. It gained fame when the CIA supplied Stinger missiles to Mujahideen fighters in the Soviet war in Afghanistan. So how to build one to foil my enemy? To start big, there is a 1/16 scale or 120mm scale version of either the missile system or with a gunner in resin from Verlinden. There is a 1/72 scale gunner and a set of figures from Zvezda meant more for wargaming. I prefer to model in 1/35 scale, and so there is a missile included in Tamiya's modern U.S. accessory set from 1988, or in a figure set from DML. I chose the DML kit, number 3006, which came out in 1991 with 4 U.S. 82nd Airborne troops in Operation Desert Storm, and one of them is a Stinger gunner. When this kit came out, it was part of a new revolution in the modeling world. The new figure kits had detail that rivaled resin figures of the time, they were easier to build, and cost was greatly reduced with 4 plastic figures often costing less than one resin or metal figure. 29 years later, the kit is showing its age. The first thing I did was replace the kit-supplied head with a better DML plastic head from my spares box. The PASGT Kevlar helmet, sometimes just called the Kevlar helmet, included in the kit, seemed off in size and shape, so it too was replaced by a DML helmet from my spares box. The kit missile system includes the IFF interrogator system, which attaches to the bottom of the launcher handle and leads via a cable to a box that is often attached to the operator's right side on their web belt. The IFF antenna on the right-hand side of the missile tube was molded very thick, and the missile tube lacks some detail at both ends. I thinned down the antenna pieces by sanding them very slowly and carefully. I added a ring around the front of the launch tube that was noticeably lacking with a thin strip of paper, and I drilled open the back of the tube to add the rear seal. The gunner is dressed in standard issue BDUs with the Alice load carrying system, web belt, suspenders, and the PASGT body armor. The body armor was issued to protect the gunner from the backblast when firing the missile. The gunner also gets an M17 gas mask, 2 small arm ammunition cases, also known as ammo pouches, 2 water canteens in their covers, a compass first aid pouch, an M9 bayonet in sheath, a combat field pack, I always called them butt packs, and a very small unidentified case, and this is part B9 in the kit. Missing is a standard issue entrenching tool. He is also issued an M16A2 rifle, but most photos show operators with a belt-mounted pistol. I have not built a figure in over 5 years, and jumping back in is a bit daunting. Instead of trying to remember all my skills at once, I decided to just paint the figure the best I could in a couple of evenings. I was advised from another friend of mine, who is an excellent figure painter, that the Scale 75 acrylic flesh tones paint set would be a good starting point for me to start learning to use acrylic paints for Well, flesh tones. I am not endorsing this company or this paint set, just stating what I'm using. The Scale 75 paint, being acrylic rather than oil-based, is going to take some practice to get used to, but I can already tell that it will lead to good results. And as an aside note, I know that working with acrylics is going to be a lot harder than the traditional method of working with oils for flesh tones, but I think I want to stick with this for now. As I continue to use it, I will start using my wet palette and maybe some paint retarders to help me improve my level of detail. But for now, I am just concentrating on putting paint on plastic before I lose my nerve. For the uniform and helmet, I wanted him in a standard woodland camo paint scheme. For this, I am using Tester's Model Master acrylic paints, which took 2 paint sessions to get to a reasonable representation. I am not entirely happy with it, but it is good enough for what I want to accomplish with this build. And this is an important point I want to make: doing the appropriate level of work for the job. It is vital not to do too much work on something that does not really require it, as this can lead to burnout on projects and ultimately with the hobby. Set expectations as low as you can, as early as you can, then just try to meet them. I find this helps to ease the pressure and keeps the hobby fresh for me. The gear is a base dark green and then highlighted in the center areas of each piece with a lightened version of the base dark green color. I will include the specifics for the paint colors in the description below. I painted the snap heads brass, as the black enamel they are coated with tended to rub and chip off fairly quickly, allowing for a bit of unexpected metallic color here and there. The boot style on the figure is for U.S. Army jungle boots. I have only done the base painting and highlighting in black. I intend to add the green sides. The missile, IFF system, and rifle are all base coated in black. The rifle has had the metallic areas rubbed with graphite, and the plastic areas remain black with some highlighting. The IFF system will also remain black with highlights, even though the instructions tell you to paint it and the cable green. All photos I have seen show it to be a black box and cable. Check references if it matters to you when building, as sometimes the painting instructions in the kits can be misleading. The missile tube still needs to have the prominent right-hand side sling scratch built and attached. The tube will be painted green, with one important point that was brought to my attention. Only training missile tubes show distress or weathering, as the live rounds are somewhat delicate, so they are not abused. There is a small sighting glass often seen in photos of the Stinger being shot that is not included in the kit. I will also have to scratch build this. I plan to use a set of Archer dry transfers of various division insignia that includes the 34th Infantry Division, Red Bull, shoulder patches. This is the division I served in, so I thought it would be appropriate for my air defense gunner when he shoots down that commie plane. I picked these up at an AMPS national show many years ago, but I still find the printing on the dry transfers to be very well done. But remember, these are not decals. However, I have found that, depending on the figure, they can sometimes look oversized. I often transfer them to decal paper or to just a piece of really thin plain paper and then put them on the figure to give more scale effect. So now we are up to speed. The question is, will I be able to finish this build in time to hold back those Soviet VVS ground attack aircraft? As we continue experimenting with this channel, one purpose is to gain experience in making the videos. Our new format is to try releasing one 10-minute video on Monday with the focus on building, and release another 10-minute video on Thursday focused on history or review material. Another aspect that I would like to speak about is how equipment sits on a figure. To me, this is one of the biggest flaws in my own builds, when a piece of equipment just does not sit correctly. Take the arms of the gunner. I checked the positioning several times as the glue dried, with the launcher in place, taking the time to make sure they looked right. I also carefully sanded the hands as well, so the launcher would sit in them naturally, especially the left hand in front that is bearing most of the launcher weight. And here at the end, I would like to thank both my son and my daughter for helping me out with this and giving me some inspiration to go forward, all the guys in my model club, and to all of you who are watching this. Thank you. Another thing I want to do is set some fun goals for this channel. So, once I get 100 subscribers, I will do a special video covering one of my favorite builds. I think it's a great model story and look forward to telling it.